Oh yes, finally the Chainsaw Man trailer is here. So freaking hyped. I'm already seeing tossed around, is this the next Attack on Titan, the next Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen perhaps? Honestly, I don't know about you, but I've never seen this much hype for a new anime that was not already a sequel season. A lot of you have actually been asking me to do some type of breakdown on the trailer. Although honestly, so far, there really isn't that much that they've shown you. So instead with this video, let me actually tackle as a whole, what exactly is Chainsaw Man? And can it actually live up to the hype? I will be keeping this as non-spoiler as possible. So go ahead and chainsaw that like and subscribe. New anime videos every Friday. Anyway, the Chainsaw Man anime is coming. Which by the way, it is kinda sad or funny that other anime with the gun for the head dude got like no attention. But anyway, what is Chainsaw Man? You got the protagonist here, Denji, who really has one of the worst starting lives I've seen from almost any anime character. Move over, Subaru. The dude is so broke, he's trying to pay off his father's debt to the Yakuza. The poor guy really can't even afford food. Avoiding the actual spoiler details, let's just say Denji eventually becomes the Chainsaw Man. Part of this involves essentially becoming the pet for this lady called Makima. So yes, it's time to work for the government. Makima is part of this government agency that's hunting down devils. So yes, doesn't that sound fantastic? An actual devil himself, hunting and killing other devils. Really just to get by. I'm sure you're getting a vibe of a couple of animes so far. In all, Denji's life has really just drastically improved. He actually gets to eat some food, he's got some buddies, which involves a swordsman dude, and of course, a wonderful power. Ultimately, the goal for their group, and Denji by extension, is to ultimately destroy the Gun Devil. Throughout the story, you do meet other devils, devil hybrids, and of course other devil hunters that are awfully good at their jobs. Taking a step back, the actual story isn't all that complex. It's a pretty simple story, pretty straightforward, so definitely let me know, what does Chainsaw Man already remind you of? Perhaps Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, maybe My Hero Academia. I might even toss in One Punch Man there, just going by the simple, straightforward story. For me, I've actually started reading the manga earlier this year. It's been one of those manga I really love reading during my daily commute on the train. I mean, one of the best parts is the Japanese dialogue is pretty simple, so it's easy to read. And stuff like the battle scenes, there's not even much talking, so it's pretty simple. So now jumping into what makes Chainsaw Man great. Is it that lightning in a bottle anime that a lot of people are championing it as? Keep in mind this is a Shonen Jump series, but it feels pretty different. I was actually going to split this into good or bad parts for the series. But the funny part about that is that some of this stuff you may either completely love or completely hate and get turned off by. You can let me know down below which side you fall on. First off, I do have to bring up the main character Denji and the other character that gets a lot of screen time, Power. So what exactly is the motivation for your main character here? Does the guy want to become Hokage, the Jujutsu King? As you got a sense already, no, the guy really just wants some freaking food, trying to get out of poverty. And then this is something the guys can relate to, he really just wants to feel some boobage before he dies. The guy is yearning for that human connection. On the flip side, you have the goofball Power. Throughout the series, you get a lot of things she wants. One of these things includes sucking out some blood from the person until they die. Ah yes, the Twilight fangirl. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, your protagonists. An extension to this for Denji and Power, just know you aren't gonna get the most meaningful, deep dialogue between the two. They do behave like brother and sister. Honestly, a lot of their back and forth feels like you're watching little kids. So you're here expecting your next Yuji, your next Deku, your next Danjiro, your next Eren. You may not get that. Which honestly for me was actually a positive for the series. I do want to see their banter on screen, especially with whatever talented voice actors they do pick. Next up, the gory, fun stuff, the gallons of blood, which I am expecting to be highly elevated for the anime. I mean, with the main character being the literal Chainsaw Man, this really should not be surprising. Throughout the series, there's a lot of scenes of heads or body parts being sliced off. Sometimes you have eyes literally falling out of the eye socket. I mean, you do have the devil Denji that needs blood to transform into the beast. The one thing I'm wondering for the anime is whether they're actually gonna plus the gore factor, or really just keep it all bloody and steamy. Talking about the jam filling, how about other body fluids? Stuff like lemonade, stuff like sweat, stuff like vomiting. Not even visually, sometimes just joking about it. Let me just be real with you that this is really common in the story. If you're reading the manga, you can't go a few chapters without this fun stuff making its way into the page. Take a look at this example. Some banter between Power and Denji. Hey Denji, I'm about to hurl. Come on Denji, eat it. So yeah, just be ready for this. If this is not your cup of tea, this may put you off the series a bit. Just be mentally prepared for it. Switching to something better, the sexy time stuff. In terms of the actual devils they do fight, there are quite a number of devils that are outright nude in their birthday suit, or that are just showing a lot of skin. So yes, just get ready for that lady fan service. And let me also stress, this is not limited to the actual devils. There's quite a bit of girl on girl stuff. The one thing I am pondering is that some of this stuff were quick panels in the manga. Now flip it to the anime, how are they gonna deal with this? Do you want to see them just flashing through this stuff really quickly? Or no, should they fully expand on the fanservice scenes for you? I think manga readers are definitely hoping for this. I mean, there's so much freaking fan art for this series. Next up, the actual Chainsaw Man. I do expect some of you will come into the series expecting this turn up your brain off series, which means if you're only here to see the actual Chainsaw Man fights, potentially there may not be enough of him. As a huge positive, at least at the start of the series, there is a lot of Chainsaw Man, although that steadily, progressively gets less and less as the time goes by. A good comparison is just waiting for the green dude to Hulk out, which really just means be prepared to get a ton of Denji on screen. The Chainsaw Man does have limitations for his actual transformation in the first place. This is a fun topic, the relationships, specifically bad relationships depending on who you're asking. Of course, Denji growing up being pretty innocent, pretty naive, pretty closed off to the world, let's just say his situation is not ideal. If you do hear some negative things about the series, there have been some question about whether this series does promote grooming, potentially some people going to the extreme of calling it slavery. So where's that balance going to be for the anime? I do think a lot of people are just going to call Denji a big ass simp, as he should be. Either way, if you're interested in seeing messed up relationships, just terrible power struggles, you're in for a treat. Another fun topic, death, and really just the darker stuff in the actual series. If I didn't know it already, I would not have figured this was a Shonen Jump series. I mean, for a Shonen targeted demographic, I'm surprised about all the people dying. Whether it's getting chopped up, getting shot, hit by a car, stabbed, other forms of mutilation. With a name like Chainsaw Man, you really shouldn't be surprised. Fair warning to you, Chainsaw Man is not afraid to kill its characters. Power of friendship, plot armor, sayonara, take a hike. Maybe this is why some people are comparing it to early Attack on Titan. Don't get too attached. The fun part about this is that just talking about this, making this video, I'm getting a lot more hyped. There is so much potential for something great here. The key here is really just to manage your expectations. For anyone thinking it's going to be the next Demon Slayer, I would just discard that completely. A better comparison would be the next Jujutsu Kaisen. I mean, it is MAPPA after all. But don't take my word for it, here's the word from the author. Chainsaw Man is like a copy of Dorohedoro and Jujutsu Kaisen. The studio those anime are producing this anime? I have nothing to say, please do it. That said, I do encourage you to be cautiously hyped. I do think for this anime to succeed, it needs to be 2 cores. At the very least a split season. The release date still is unknown, so I'm guessing sometime next year, 2022. The Chainsaw manga doesn't have a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of action scenes, so they could easily do 3 chapters per episode. For any manga readers, I think around chapter 60-ish would be a good stopping point, which means 3 cores for the entire anime to finish the story. Maybe even 24 episodes, then finish this off with the movie, since it seems that MAPPA and the anime industry really loves their movies lately. I mentioned the story really not being awfully complex, which is really one of the things that the manga readers will tell you is that we really just want to see the action scenes on screen. On the flip side, let's actually go back to reality. I will tell you, expect CG animation, perhaps looking like Attack on Titan, especially for at least some of the Chainsaw Man fight scenes. Unlike Attack on Titan, I do hope they polish this a lot more. I mean, Attack on Titan Season 4 has been super rushed already, MAPPA's really overworking their people potentially, but since I mentioned Dorohedoro, it may actually look more like that. Unfortunately, really just looking at Chainsaw Man, just looking at the actual guy being metallic, CG really is the way to go. Still, I'm hoping for at least 1 or 2 scenes that's god tier animation or close to it. Potential CG aside, I do think the anime is going to give this manga a very needed polish. I mean, look at the manga, it looks pretty rough, especially at the beginning. Lately, I have been reading more manga, stuff like Sailor Moon, so I'm getting quite the variety to judge and get a feel for the art. I don't know if you do this too, but when I look at a manga, I do have fun thinking how closely I could draw the actual characters or the manga panel. For some manga like My Hero Academia, Berserk, Claymore, there is no chance in hell. I could practice for a few decades and I could never. But then looking at Chainsaw Man, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm super rusty, I have not drawn in quite a while, but I think it's doable. In general for Chainsaw Man, I did notice a lot of backgrounds not there, so I'm really pumped for the actual anime to fill these in. For the actual popular waifu characters, a fan favorite is gonna be Makima. For anime people simping over Nagatoro, I think those people will definitely be charmed by her. And then number 2, Power, an extremely popular character. I wonder why. If fan art is anything to go by, there's already a lot of passionate fans out there. I'm predicting it now, Power will be the waifu of the season. I do wonder whether there's going to be any Zero Two comparisons, since they look similar. We'll see how the anime handles this. By the way, one of the things I just love is that they're really already showing so much confidence with this anime. There's already Power merch lined up. She's got a figure already. But anyway, going back to what I loved about Chainsaw Man. You know me, I love the My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, but then I read this manga. It has a very different feeling from your typical battle shonen or any other shonen jump series. I found it to be a different, but very lovely, tasty flavor. MAPPA right now does have the potential to do what they did for Jujutsu Kaisen, which is really just elevate every single aspect of the manga. Although I still want you to keep managed expectations. I really don't see this being anime of the year for most of you, but don't be surprised if it's in your top 10 for the year. So let me know, how hyped are you for Chainsaw Man? Do you think MAPPA can deliver, especially after doing Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen, or other stuff like Dorohedoro? Overall, on my end, I'm still trying to catch up with spring anime season. So here's a fun random bonus. Which anime did you love from spring season? Or just tell me which plain sucked. I'm trying to finish up spring anime. But I'll tell you, I've been so busy, and recently I have not been feeling 100%. As a positive, I did get the first vaccine, so that's good. Maybe that thing just had a delayed effect on me. Or maybe I'm just not eating enough. I put on so much weight earlier in the year, so lately I've been trying to shed that off. Also, at the same time, I've been trying to prepare something to launch, something that long-term viewers will love. I'm probably just gonna bite the bullet and pull the trigger without things being anywhere near perfect. Otherwise, it won't ever get done. That's coming up, look forward to it. I will mention it on the YouTube community tab, of course in the next video too, so keep an eye out for that. But anyway, let me know how hyped you are for Chainsaw Man down below. Can MAPPA deliver? Are manga fans overhyping it too much? Don't forget to like and subscribe, it'll tell YouTube to push this video out to more people. Go ahead and check out last week's video diving into whether Japan is like anime. That was a fun video, so don't miss it, and I'll see you guys later.